This is a 225 Q&A practice test. Plaintiff Attorney Mr. Ryan, capital R-Y-A-N. Defense Attorney Ms. M.S. period Lyon, capital L-Y-O-N. And we'll start with Defense Attorney. Ready? Here we go. Would you talk to me a little bit about the ranking back then? Who was at the top? Who was the top sheriff at that time? Sheriff Ken Peters. Okay, and right below him, second in command would be who? Agent Herm. Okay, and then that's Rob Herm, right? Right. Brother or relative? That's brother. That's your brother. Okay, yes. And then does it branch down into one or more deputy agents? Yes. How many? There's a deputy agent in charge of the jail, deputy agent in charge of patrol, and the division, and deputy agent in charge of our support. Okay, and so on May 5th of 2006, who were those three deputy agents? Scott. Deputy Agent Scott was in charge of operations at that time. Okay, Deputy Agent Bob Wells was in charge of the jail, and I think Deputy Agent Bill Beck was in charge of support. Okay, and then the next level below that is Sergeant. Yes, and how many sergeants were there? 3 sergeants. That would be yourself. In charge of, as far as the patrol division is concerned, there's 3 sergeants. Me, Mr. Sims, and I believe it was Mr. White at the time. Okay, and that's your division was the patrol division, right? Yes, and then is there also a sergeant of the Detective Bureau? That's right, Mr. James Link. So he would have been at the top dog in the Detective Bureau at that time is right, yes. And you have already said that his decision to move authority, but let me just make sure we're clear. You did know about Mr. Drake's civil lawsuit against your department in Orange County for the years that he spent on the wrongful conviction case, right? Yes, and the concern was pretty clear to you. As soon as his car was found on his own land, that maybe there might be a point of a conflict, if not a real conflict, for your department to be handling this case. Isn't that right? Yes. By the way, were you deposed in that lawsuit? Did you go through any depositions yourself? No, I did not. Do you know if, and did you know at that time whether or not Mr. James Link had gone through any depositions in that lawsuit? I'm not aware of that. I'm talking about May 5 right now. Okay, yes, you weren't aware of that, right? Whether or not Mr. Link had been deposed in any, deposed in any of the civil litigation, right? I'm not aware of it. And you were not aware of it then? No. What about Sergeant Al Bournes? Were you aware he had been deposed as a witness in that lawsuit? Not to my knowledge. I don't recall if he was or if he was not. The same as far as Mr. Link. I don't recall if he was or if he was not. So it's at that time it's possible that you were aware of it. You are just not sure right now. Is that what you are telling me? I don't recall at this point. I don't recall if he was or was not. Okay, but at any rate, it was pretty common knowledge. Would you say pretty much every member of the Orange Sheriff's Department was aware of Mr. Drake's lawsuit against them? Yes. Okay, now you talk about this decision to turn over the lead of the search of this case on May 5, 2006, and you said that was about 45 minutes after the first officer came, right? Yes. So by 11:45 in the morning, the decision had just been made that you would pass this off to Orange, right? Yes. I think we were talking about the decision to move the lead rank in the search to Orange. Was it about 11:45 a.m., right? Yes. So I'm going to come back to that in just a moment, but let me ask you this first. You parked, when you first pulled up into the southeast area of the junkyard, you parked near the crusher, is that right? Yes, somewhere in that same area, yes. Okay, and did you look at the crusher? Did it seem to be in working order, or could you tell? I don't know I know I have an idea of how it runs, whether or not it was working at the time. It was not running when I came. Did you see a bunch of old crushed cars stacked nearby? Yes, I did. Okay, and when you walked up to the Ford Edge, did you see any sign at all that maybe somebody had tried to crush it and failed, or had started to crush it and failed? No, I did not. It was just intact as far as you could tell, yes, even though there was a crusher nearby that could have, if somebody knew how to use it, could have just smashed that edge to a pancake, right? If the crusher was working, yes, right, they could. The car could have been crushed. Okay, and if that would have been done to that edge, it would have been a very different car at that point, right? Unless you start ripping it apart. I don't know as far as emblems or whatever would be seen. I guess I can't make any unless you see a car like that crushed. It would be much different than it was when you saw it. Yes, it would sure change the look of it. Okay, and this, by that time the news or word had been out on the media, the news, missing persons posters spread all over the place that Jan's car was a Ford Edge, right? Yes. And you said, I think, as you walked up to the, maybe I'm confusing you with the prior witness, but as you saw the car, it seemed as if somebody had been trying to hide it. Yes, I did not testify to that, but it did seem that way to me. I'm sorry, I may be changing you into the prior witness, but in fact, the effort to hide it, this Ford Edge wasn't that good, was it? I mean, it wasn't covered. No, not at all. And in fact, counsel, if you could put up that one right now, thank you. As you walked up to the rear of it, this is what you see, great big letters, Ford Edge, right? Yes. Exhibit 29, counsel. Exhibit 29, we're showing to the jury right now. The hood that was leaning up by the side of the car is over here, right? All right, the word list. We have Ken Peters, capital K-E-N, new word, capital P-E-T-E-R-S. Agent Herm, capital A on agent, Herm, capital H-E-R-M. Scott, capital S-C-O-T-T. Wells, capital W-E-L-L-S. Bob, capital B-O-B. Bill Beck, capital B-I-L-L, new word, capital B-E-C-K. White, capital W-H-I-T-E. Sims, capital S-I-M-S. James Link, capital J-A-M-E-S, new word, capital L-E-N-K. Drake, capital D-R-A-K-E. Orange County, capital O, excuse me, capital O-R-A-N-G-E, new word, capital C-O-U-N-T-Y. Al Borns, Al, capital A-L, new word, capital B-O-R-N-S. Ford Edge, capital F-O-R-D, new word, capital E-D-G-E. Jan, capital J-A-N. And that's it for the word list, and that will conclude our 225 Q&A practice test.